Hey guys, it's Marshall from Going Gear, and today we're going to take a look at another one of the Surefire rechargeable lights. This is the UNR Commander. So 800 lumens on maximum output, goes as low as 30 lumens. You can always get the rest of the specs on our website. Let's go ahead and pop this open. I went ahead and tore the tape earlier just so we'd be able to get into this. User manual, always worth a read. You got the outputs and run times, the specs, operating instructions. Definitely worth taking a look at because there is a lot going on with this light. It's a relatively complicated light. You've got a lot of different functions and features and everything. Okay, let's take a look at all the accessories. So you have a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. We're going to use that, so we're going to set it next to the light. You have a car adapter cable, so if you want to charge in your car, you have that option. You have the wall cable, and it does not have the plugs on it. You have a bunch of different plugs for different outlets of the world, so you do have different options. You've got a battery carrier for 123s, so this light can also run off of two 123s, so you have that option. And then you have an anti-roll ring for the bezel, so this just slips over the front like that. So the rechargeable lithium-ion battery is obviously what you want to be in there when you're recharging the light. And it's a custom battery. It's not a standard 18650 or anything like that, so you're not going to be able to use 18650s without any sort of modification in this thing. But it just goes in there, and then that gives you the ability to recharge the light. For the purposes of the review, we're just going to use the regular 123 carrier with the two 123s in there, since you get the same output and everything. So let's go ahead and take off the tail cap. Slide the batteries down in there. Make sure they line up correctly and everything, because there is three little connection points on the end of the battery pack and on the end of the battery carrier that we have in there. So you got to make sure that's all lined up. Otherwise your light's not going to power on. So we got the batteries in there. Let's take a little bit closer look at the light so you can see what's going on with it. So you have this rotary ring right here, and this is what you turn to adjust the different outputs. So you have different outputs plus strobe. This is the charging port, so that's where you plug in that charging cable. Take a look at the optic and the LED down in there. There you can see the optic and the LED. This one should give you a nice focused beam, which you'll see that better when we go outside. And the 4-position switch, which we'll see better what that does here in just a second. But let's turn it around just so you can see the different parts of it. Pretty cool light, definitely one of the more advanced lights that I've seen. So let's take a look at the different functions on here. I'm actually going to take it off of strobe for a second and put it down to off. So when you have it on off, switch isn't going to do anything. So that's like your lockout function. It's not going to let the light power on. Definitely what you want to do when you're traveling or you have it in storage and you don't want that light to turn on. So we're going to switch it over to minimum, and you have, like I said, a 4-way switch. And what that means is you can lightly press the switch and you'll get the low output, because it's turned to medium right now, so you'll get the lower output. But you can also press it all the way and get the max output. So that full 800 lumens is accessible at any time. When you have it on one of the different outputs, you just lightly press for the low, press it all the way for the high. Now you also have instant access to constant on, so that was the momentary. That's when you use the different ways of pushing it to the side. So if you lightly press it to the side, you'll see you'll get constant on of the low output, and then you can push it all the way to turn it off, and push it all the way over and you get the max output constant on. It's a pretty cool interface. So you can lightly press it and get the momentary of the two different outputs, press it to the side to get the constant on, and all the way over to get the max output constant on. And you have the same thing for all your different outputs. So we'll go ahead and turn it on, and we'll use the switch, and you can see it'll switch between the different outputs. And then you have the strobe. One note on the strobe is that you can see no matter what you do, any pressing of any way of the light is going to get you into strobe. So that's not going to give you access to the max output. It's just when you have it in the other output functions is when you're going to have access to max output. When you have it in the strobe position, it's always going to go into strobe. Now you do have the choice between the momentary strobe and the constant on strobe, so you still have that functionality. But if you switch it over to the other modes, that's when you get access to your different outputs plus the max output. Alright, let's go over the interface again real quick. I keep on calling this the 4-position switch. They call it the 4-function tailcap. So 4-function tailcap. I'll probably say it wrong a couple more times. But so you have the rotary ring that'll adjust your different outputs all the way over to off. It's not going to power on. Switch it over to any of the other ones and lightly press the switch head on, and you'll have the lower output. Press all the way for max output of the 800 lumens. Press it to the side in any direction to get constant on of the lower output, and then press it all the way over to get constant on of the max output. And then again, when you have it in strobe, it's going to be in strobe no matter what, so it's not going to go into the max output like in the other positions. Another nice feature of the UNR is the battery gauge. So when you turn the light on, it's actually going to be red, yellow, or green, and you can tell how much battery life you have left. So it'll tell you when you need to recharge or replace your batteries. And they're yellow right now, so we're going to go ahead and put some fresh ones in there before we go outside. But it's kind of neat that it gives you an idea of how the battery life is doing.
Alright, we got the Commander out here. Don't have the mag light that I normally have. If you want to see it, you can see it in a bunch of other videos, but we're going to go ahead and show you the different levels of illumination. I'll just let it cycle through, just so you can see how it does on the different levels. But let's go ahead and put it in the max output, and we use that for most of the rest of the video. So let's zoom in. Tree out there at 100 feet, you can see obviously lit up extremely well. Nice spill on this one, so not just what's in the center, but everything around it as well is lit up really well. That's what I like about these pre-focused reflectors. Instead of like your adjustable focus, you've got the center hotspot, which lights up what you're pointing at really well, but you also get the nice periphery around that still lit up really well. There's a little bush at 15 feet, another tree out there, shining around a little bit. But you can see that max output, whole lot of light coming out of this thing. Definitely lights up things really well. And as you'll see here in just a little bit, stuff at even more of a distance than this still lit up really well. So let's go ahead and try out longer distance and see how it does. Alright, we have the Commander and some more distance to work with. So there is my house, about 25-30 yards away to the top of that chimney there. Trees in the neighbor's yard, about 100 yards to the tops of those. And you can see distance further than this obviously would be no problem, because it's lighting up 100 yards away really well. Illuminates everything, no problem. And you can see the spill, so you can see the top of the chimney down here still lit up really well with just the spill, not even shining that hotspot on it. So you can see the illumination that you'll get from just the spill alone. We'll shine it around. You see the different colors and distances and everything. Great light, really cool interface. I've been really impressed with this. I really like that multi-position switch. I already forgot what they called it. Whatever they call it, it's really cool. So there you go. That's the Surefire UNR Commander. If you like it, you can buy it from us at goinggear.com. Any questions or comments, you can reach us in the comments or at goinggear.com. And if you like the video, be sure to subscribe. We put out a lot of other flashlight and gear videos. Thanks for watching.